I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black." I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something, I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words, so I'm asking.
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this.
Is that true? If the American people wanted better than that, then why did they vote for Donald Trump in 2016? Why did he beat Hillary Clinton? I mean, those things that she brought up happened before he won in 2016. So if that were the case, Kamala Harris, why did he win? And then 2, notice, we'll let her finish. Notice she still hasn't pushed back on the became black thing. Notice the way he says kind of funny. He was like, she became black, you know, but she doesn't refute it. She doesn't deny it. She doesn't say, what black American do you know would not sit up here and say, that's ridiculous. Of course I'm a black American. Why isn't she owning that? Because she's not. People have to understand black American is an ethnic group. So I am a black American. My parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, yada, 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 down the line, we are all black Americans. We are American descendants of slavery. Kamala Harris is not a black American. She may be of the diaspora, but by definition, she is not black. The term black to describe people like black people that originated here in the United States, and it applied to American descendants of slavery. So you don't go to Jamaica and hear Jamaicans saying we're black. They say we're Jamaican. Does everybody understand this? That is very important for people to get that through their heads. Now, Trump says it, it's kind of funny when he says it because he's kind of like, she became black. But if you look at other newspapers, when she was running for the Senate seat, they said she will be the first female Indian woman to win. They didn't say she would be the first Indian Jamaican woman to win either. They didn't mention the Jamaican part. They just said Indian woman. So the reality is Kamala Harris, by definition, is not a black American. Does everybody understand that? Let me continue. Jesus.
Want someone who understands as I do. I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump.
So yeah, notice she did not tell you that she is black. Have you guys noticed that? And nobody would even mention this, Kamala Harris, had the Democratic Party not ran you as a black woman. That's what they pushed you as, said she could be the first black woman this, first black woman that. That's what they pushed you as, Kamala Harris, because you wore an empty suit. Now, if you would have had like policies, if you would have been like on your game, they wouldn't have pushed you as that. But that's all they had to go with, because nobody voted for you in the 2024 Democrat primary because you weren't a part of it. They selected you. So they had to come up with, let's push the fact that, whoa, this could be the first black woman, da, da, da. And you guys expect those of us that are black Americans to sit back and believe this lie and to not speak up. And when we speak up about it and say, no, she's not, we're a problem. CNN want to point fingers at us and bring on a woman who's from Cuba. They want to bring her on and sit up there and tell another man that, well, no, she is black. You look black. You are black. Now you got a Cuban woman who is white passing on CNN News trying to tell them if someone is black because they look black. She's just looking at the color of someone's skin. I've met a number of people throughout the diaspora, and a number of times they've been very quick to correct me and let me know that they are not black. And they never give the voices to the people who are of that experience. They didn't bring on anybody that was a black American to be a part of that panel discussion, to have that conversation. They brought on a Cuban woman who was white passing to tell you who is black and who isn't because they look a certain way. It's a hot mess. We see exactly what's happening. No, you don't claim being black when it's beneficial for you. Because all these other times, people are quick to tell you, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. Correct yourself. They're quick to tell you these things. But now you want to claim it because it's beneficial. I ain't got time for it, boo. I don't have time for it.
This is now your third time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said, going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park Five. They admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had. A horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life, to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
Now she changed it again. First, it was the $25,000 down payment. Then it flipped to a $25,000 tax credit. Then on her website, it flipped to up to $25,000. And now it's back to $25,000 down payment. Which is it? The $6,000 that she was referring to, from what I read, that was a tax credit. Like all these tax credits, man. Like it's just, can't even give people a basic standard of living. It's just have a kid and you'll get this tax credit. Ay, ay, ay.
That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's
Trump,
turn back
we
to
have
policy.
to move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
Thank
That's
you, Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsay,
to
go ahead.
respond.
President
because,
Trump,
no, the
President
former
Trump.
president has
No,
said
I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry. We're
I just
gonna
need to
move.
She does not have a plan to defund the police. Hell, she is the freaking police. So Trump, you need to let that one go.